Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today on this webinar with KPMG. My name is Fern and I am part of the Student Success team at Target Jobs. I'm really excited to be joined by the KPMG team today, who are going to be talking a bit more about what they do, their company and their experiences at the company so far. Just a few housekeeping rules. If you guys have any questions at all, then please feel free to pop them into the questions tab. We are going to be having a bit of a Q&A later on in the webinar, so they will get answered at that point. But for now, I'm going to pass over to Ben, who's going to kick things off.
Thanks so much, Fern. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ben Chapman. I work in the KPMG student recruitment team, and I've been in the team for 2.5 years now. Basically, what the student recruitment team do is we help with all the applications associated with all of our apprenticeship programs and all of our graduate programs and undergraduate programs as well. So anything that a student comes into KPMG for, that's what our team sits there to deal with, and that's to do with all the assessments and everything sort of leading up to being hopefully introduced into the business. So yeah, just a bit of background to myself. But like Fern said, I just wanted to start off with just a little bit of background around KPMG. I know sometimes when I do things like this, not everybody's heard of KPMG, so it's always good to get a little bit of context about who we are and what we do. So yeah, we'll do that and then we'll jump into a Q&A. So we've got a really good opportunity to talk to some graduates that are in KPMG, and I'll let them introduce themselves and give a little bit of background to themselves. But yeah, like Fern said, lots of opportunity to ask questions and really sort of dig into sort of their experiences, their journeys, and how they feel about working at KPMG. And then I'll just finish off with just a little look at KPMG's opportunities. So potentially what's out there for you, how you can apply for it, and sort of the journey that looks like. Yeah, just to give you a little bit of a flavour. And again, you can an opportunity to ask a few more questions about specifically application processes. But first of all, let's start with who are KPMG. So I don't know if you want to go into the chat. Does anybody know who KPMG are? First of all, anybody know who KPMG are? It's okay if you don't. Don't worry about that too much. Part of the Big Four audit firms. Yeah, Big Four's come up. Auditing has come up. Advisory and tax services. Yeah, professional services firm. All right, perfect. So yeah, there's a little bit of knowledge there for some of you guys, which is great. And yeah, we're just sort of going to look at that a little bit deeper as well. So yeah, it's good that you guys have heard of us before, and you kind of, yeah, you've got it right there. Really, we are a professional services firm, but basically KPMG going back sort of to when we formed. We actually formed in 1987. And it was just a merger of some individual member firms that came together to form KPMG as it is. And you can trace those firms that merged together, you can trace them back to over 150 years. So our history actually sits over 150 years ago. So yeah, we're quite an old company. But yeah, so it's good that you've heard of us. And then somebody's mentioned professional services as well. So yeah, absolutely spot on. We are a professional services firm. And what that means is when we talk about professional services, we mean non-physical products or services that individuals or companies provide to customers to help them manage or improve a specific area of their business. So at KPMG, yeah, we offer a wide range of those services. And it's not just accounting. I know we've mentioned accounting and auditing there, but you also had that advisory and tax as well in the chat. So yeah, we can sort of look at those a little bit more detail as well. So yeah, looking at what KPMG offers, we've got audit, and audit is one of our biggest capabilities. That's one of the biggest areas that we work in. However, yeah, like someone said in the chat, we've got advisory, we have tax and legal areas of our work, and technology and engineering, and also KPMG business services. So we could be working on the behalf of anyone really, from individuals and small startups right the way through to big major multinationals, and that's across virtually every industry as well. So yeah, if you think of a big name, you know, KPMG have probably had something to do with it. So yeah, and how big is KPMG? So KPMG UK specifically, just to sort of give you an idea, we have around 16,000 people working across the UK offices that we have and working on behalf of the clients that we work with. And 43% of our workforce is outside of London. So yeah, it's interesting to think, you know, all the rest are in London. So London is our biggest office. It's where we have a lot of our people stationed, and a lot of our work obviously comes from London, with it being the capital, and a lot of business there. So yeah, mentioned location. We'll have a little bit of look at the other locations as well. But yeah, when applying to things like this, it's always really important to sort of think about the location that you'd like to work in, because you'll be based there for the duration of the program that you do. And then worldwide, just for context as well, KPMG has more than 236,000 people working for them. So yeah, we're quite a big company. But yeah, that's hopefully just give you an idea. Like every company, I just want to touch on our values as well, because it's always important just to touch on our values. So these are the values that we as KPMG employees work towards every day. So, you know, we want our employees and our individuals to bring the best of themselves, and, you know, live and breathe our values. So they're what give us a strong sense of identity, and they sort of define who we are and how we do our work and work with our clients. So yeah, they really sort of form the foundation of our code of conduct, and really sort of a commitment by all KPMG employers. So just demonstrating our accountability to each other. There is more information about these on our careers website, but I thought I'd just touch on them briefly, just to give you an idea of yeah, what we work towards and what we sort of hold ourselves account to. So looking at the different areas that we worked in, we've touched on them briefly, but yeah, just to look at them a little bit more detailed. So audit, like I said, is our biggest practice. And just to put that simply, it's just about examining organizations and ensuring their published accounts provide a true and fair reflection of their financial position and their results. And the work that we do around that, you know, it makes a lot of meaningful difference to the businesses and communities that we're working with. It's critical to everyday working of society. So everything, every business, it all needs to be audited. So that work is always there, and it's a really important part of our economy. So that's one of our biggest practices. We've got deal advisory, and these teams look to make a positive difference through sort of like doing deals and working with businesses to help create a more sustainable future, economically and environmentally as well. So it's helping our clients to buy and sell, as well as access funds, improve their financial position, and partner with confidence. And then looking at technology, we've got, so technology obviously fills a large part of what we do as human beings, to be honest. So technology is forever evolving, and it's really at the heart of and part of our DNA as well. So we've got over 2,000 technologists in the firm, and their work stretches across a range of specialisms, sort of tech strategy, risk management, data and analytics. We've got software engineering and cyber automation. So there's quite a few different roles in there for technology, and it really sort of builds a foundation of what we do. So tax and legal services as well. So tax, obviously, it impacts our lives. Anybody that works will know what tax is, and society. Yeah, basically, in every way that you do, you'll see tax. So that means our tax experts are helping to solve some of the biggest challenges facing our country. And yeah, tax is always going to be there. It's obviously a massive, and it's part of legal legislation as well. So making sure a business is paying their tax correctly, and also giving advice of where they can make sure their tax is the most efficient way of paying tax as well. So you're not paying too much. Looking at KPMG law, so we as a corporate professional services firm, you know, operating in 81 countries, you know, we legal practices need to be taken into account as well. So yeah, being a part of a KPMG law, sort of build your knowledge and continue to progress your career sort of in a legal perspective. And then there's KPMG Business Services. So this is essentially the people team of KPMG. So our student recruitment team sits in the KPMG Business Services, and we basically work internally to work for the company, essentially bringing in new talent. It also do with finance and hiring. So yeah, it's like KPMG's very own people team. And then there's advisory as well. So consulting would sit in advisory. And yeah, sort of immersing yourself in businesses and tech and finding solutions to help them grow and sort of yeah, help with their challenges that they do. So yeah, just a little bit background of our different areas. So I just wanted to touch on the locations as well. So we mentioned that we've got 16,000 people working at KPMG UK. But yeah, it's important to see sort of where we sort of land in the country and where our offices sit. So yeah, as you can see, we work all the way up to Aberdeen and then all the way down into the south, well, Plymouth and Southampton. So yeah, a huge scope. And like I said before, it's always really important if you do end up applying for a graduate program to check out the location, because that's where you'll do the majority of your program. So yeah, making sure you're comfortable with where you've chosen. But yeah, just to give you an idea of the different areas that we work in. So yeah, I know that was quite brief, but yeah, just hopefully gives you a little bit of foundation knowledge about who we are. But what we want to jump into is we're really lucky to have some graduates that have joined us, and we're going to jump into a Q&A right now. So if I could just ask them to pop on their cameras. I think we've got everyone, haven't we? I think we have. Yeah, thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Like Fern said, yeah, pop your questions into the questions tab. I've got a few questions myself, but yeah, absolutely, pop them in there, and we'll get to your questions as we go. But just asking our grads then, I just ask you to come off mute and just to introduce yourself, kind of your position at the moment in KPMG, which office you're located at, yeah, and what year you were in your graduate program. So Alice, I can see you first on my screen, so we'll come to you first if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Can you hear me? Just double checking.
Yeah, you're all good.
Hi everyone, I'm Alice and I work in the deal execution team, which is in deal advisory at KPMG, and I'm currently in the Manchester office.
Amazing, thanks so much, Alice. Saloni, I can see you there as well. We'll come over to you.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Saloni Hazare. I'm a graduate audit trainee in the KPMG writing office. So in my second year of my graduate program, I did engineering back at university, but this was like a transition into audit, and I'm really enjoying so far my experience at KPMG.
Amazing, thanks so much for joining us, Saloni. Ashwini, should we come over to you?
Hello everybody, good afternoon. I hope you can hear me okay.
Yeah, all good.
Great. So I joined KPMG in 22 and I work for the technology and transformation team. I'm part of the cyber in the tech, and I joined as a graduate straight from university, but I did 2 different masters and 2 different things and finally realized this was my calling. And I work from the Edinburgh office. Edinburgh is great, so my experience has been really great so far.
Amazing, thank you so much. And then Olivia, finally to you.
Yeah. Hi everyone, I'm Olivia. I'm currently marching into my 3rd year as a KPMG audit graduate. I'm in the Birmingham office, and I also did a master in the UOB as well, something related to finance and accounting. And yeah, so that's basically it.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. So yeah, as you can see, we've got a bit of variety in our panel today. So I can see there's some great questions coming through. I think some of them I can answer, so I'll try and type them away when we've got them. But let's see. We can start with So you guys are all in regional offices, although some of you are in a hub office, so Birmingham's a hub, isn't it? How have you found working in a regional office? Because they tend to be a little bit smaller than those hub offices. So just for everybody out there, we have hub offices, so they're mainly bigger. So London, Birmingham, is Manchester one, and Edinburgh, I think. They tend to be a bit bigger offices. And then each of the regional one is sort of allocated to one of those hubs, so they tend to be a little bit smaller. But yeah, sort of going from the regional perspective, do you find you have more direct access to leadership in a regional office? Yeah, do you think that's sort of promoted when you're in a smaller regional office? So I see. Should we go to Saloni? You're in Reading, so I think that's quite a good one because that's quite a small office. But yeah, what would you think regarding that?
I think personally, so the Reading office is like relatively small when we compare to London, but I think it kind of plays well for us because there's like very strong community feeling in the office. So you kind of sense that you're sitting right next to a partner and you're working, and you don't feel that kind of hierarchy that exists because you can just go talk to anyone and they're there to support you. And there's always like a monthly department meeting, which just gives everyone an opportunity to meet people from senior management or within KPMG, just to ensure that you have very good, connect to leadership. There are a lot of mentoring programs as well as, opportunity to just have informal socials with those senior than you. So I think it really helps to get a direct access to leadership and you get to know people even outside of business context. So it's just nice to have that community feeling. But I also feel that although we may not be, from one of the hub offices, because of the way mentoring work, I've heard of someone who's been in another regional office but has got like the head of audit across UK as the mentor. So you really see that although you may be in a regional office, you still can access those, centrally in leadership with the kind of, committee and support that there is within KPMG across UK.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, definitely. I guess all you other guys you're in hubs. So yeah, how have you found your experience? Alice, let's come to you in Manchester.
Yeah. So the head of the UK deal execution team is actually in the Manchester office. That's his home office. So a lot of the time I'm sat next to him working away, and it's easy just to drop him a question, or turn around and speak to him. And like going for lunch or going for a coffee, for example, because it's a lot smaller of a team in Manchester, so you can really build not just strong professional relationships with your colleagues, but also strong personal relationships as well, which I've found as well. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's obviously really important as well for your own sort of well-being and enjoyment at work as well. And then I guess looking at sort of businesses that you work with in not smaller offices, but yeah, I guess obviously very different to what London's doing. It's obviously regionally based anyway. But yeah, Olivia, what sort of businesses do you get to work with in your office in Birmingham?
What do you mean, like businesses working with them?
I guess
mean,
the type of project work you work with, and I guess the type of people.
I think in Birmingham, because it's quite like larger offices, and also the clients tend to be varying. Some of them were called very big clients, and you get to work with different industries, such as from car, like retails, or just some like smaller firms. And they do cover. I feel like the clients cover a wide range of clients, from retailing to all sorts of, let's say, other like interior design, decorations. So when you are in engagement, you find that each client has its uniqueness, and it's quite interesting to get to know different clients from the bits and details. And because as you become more senior, you get to take more roles, more responsibilities. So even though you're on let's say you're on the same job, say engagement, like year on year, but each year you get to explore the client with a different point of view, a different perspective, because your grade is different, your work allocation is different. And so it was kind of interesting experiences for you as like a very good self-learning path and journey. Yeah.
Amazing. Perfect, thank you. Yeah, is there, so Ashwini, we'll come over to you. Has there sort of been any sort of exciting projects that you've worked on during your time with KPMG that you sort of look back on fondly?
Yeah, cyber in itself is pretty exciting, to be honest. And I feel like every project that I do is different from its previous one. There are some where you are looking at documentation, reviewing the processes, but there are also some where you have to go in and do practical stuff. So it can vary, and each project gets exciting. So I think that's been quite a good journey, especially in terms of what I'm learning every day. So yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, amazing. And we've got some good questions coming in here. So one is, what is the culture like and what hours do you work? I don't know if that's to do with maybe a myth that your hours could be quite long at some points, but yeah, Alice, why don't we come to you? How have you found the culture? Yeah, especially coming in as a grad. Yeah, and sort of the hours that you work.
Yeah, I really like the culture here. Everyone's so social. There's like a real sense of community, especially in the Manchester office. There's monthly work socials. And yeah, I've really enjoyed my time here. I've made a lot of my friends in Manchester are my work friends because I didn't know anyone when I first moved to Manchester from university. And on the work hours point, the way deals sometimes is up and down. So sometimes I could be well finished before 5, but also there have been longer hours, but that tends to be the case with joining a very, like one of the big 4, a prestigious accounting firm as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess, yeah, it varies as well. And this is it. We've got audit graduates on here as well. So I don't know what your sort of experience in audit's been like. Saloni, is your and Olivia, have your experiences in audit been a little bit different?
Yeah, I mean, I can start, like, Saloni can say whatever. I just want to say for the audit, I think audit is known because I think audit is known for its notorious, like, not work-life balance. But I think in KPMG, I think it's like fine because it's not that horrible as it may sound like. Based on my personal experiences, I feel like except for the beta seasons, which normally around like after year end, so it's normally around from for January to like April-ish. I think other parts of the year it's just fine. You can roll off of the work at like 5 p.m. sharp, and you can have a life. You can go to gym, you can go to cook dinner. You can have a life. It's not that horrible as it sounds like. And but I don't think it's the same story for other big 4 that I have heard. And also, I think one of the thing is we have lots of like well-being committees, social committees as well. So if you do feel you need some kind of break or like some kind of you want some temporary leave from this job, you say I can't take this anymore, I'm really under so much stressful, it's always you can talk to someone in office, and this is going to be a confidential information. You won't need to be fear about, oh, what if that person leak, and there's like information leakers and everything. You don't have to worry about that. And then you know that you'll be well protected and cared about this mental ability, mental problem and anything. Because also, for the, I'm not sure about other program, for audit program, we need to do a qualification called ACE qualification. So this exam can be quite hard. It's super hard, to be honest. They have like many subjects for you to conquer. When you feel like you need some break from the exam, you can always reach out to the learning team, say, I have some kind of mental disease. I have some kind of issues, struggles in the studies. I have ADHD. I have lots of colleagues who have ADHD, surprisingly, like ADHD or suffer from this and that. You can always reach out to them and say, I want some, like, what kind of adjustments to be in place on my exam pathway, on my work. So these are all, like KPMG can all provide these kind of services, like to you for your mental health well-being. just like the KPMG values that Ben just mentioned, they really do care about people. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good actually, and it's sort of follows into the perks and sort of how KPMG support your growth, no matter sort of what your position is essentially. So yeah, have you guys found sort of it doesn't matter where you're based, I guess, from your location or your office location, the support you've received has been there for you when you needed it. Ashwini, should we come to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Because we are a pretty small team in the Edinburgh office per se. The cyber team is pretty small, and a lot of the team is based out of either London or like Birmingham and the other hub offices. But there's absolutely been no problem in receiving any kind of support we need. We're not left to fend for ourselves. Even in terms of like socials, we are invited to other offices to go and attend them and have that sense of belonging. So yeah, I think that's one good thing about KPMG in itself. Like, you're not left alone. Anybody's there for you anytime you need them. Including any kind of stupid questions you have, they're always there to have your back. So
Yeah, of course. And when our graduates get an offer, they generally get partnered up with a buddy. So before they start, they have a touch point of somebody in the business that's in the same program, hopefully the same location as well. So even if you start, you probably know someone, and that's just a great soundboard to ask questions just before you start. There are Connect days as well to help you support your sort of introduction into the business as well. And then you've got performance managers and stuff when you start as well. So yeah, there's lots of different ways of support which really sort of help our grads, which is brilliant. Is there something particularly unique about the sort of region that you work in that you think would be good to share? I don't know if anybody could take that one.
Okay, I'll take that. Or I'll start it off and then anybody can follow. But Edinburgh, Edinburgh, I think, is comparatively a very smaller city. But being the capital of Scotland, you've got access to some of the most beautiful locations. Like the Highlands are amazing, and you can just drive down. And I feel like Edinburgh is a city where you can enjoy the summer and the winter, because the city looks great during the winter and it looks greener during the summer. So yeah, and it's got a great nightlife, to be honest, or any life anytime during the day. Like, it's always buzzing, and people are really, really nice. They're very sweet all the time. So yeah, it's a great place to live in. Also, if it helps, the rent's a lot more cheaper than London. So
Yeah, that's obviously something to take into account as well when choosing a location.
Yes.
That sort of real life stuff. But yeah, and I think touching on it's great to see. Edinburgh's a great example. It's a great city to live in. I think if we touch a little bit more on the community then as well in these offices. So Saloni, what about the sort of community in Reading? What's that like? So I've been to Reading once, so it is quite a small one. But what's your experience been?
I think it's definitely nice because we generally encourage everyone to, we have something like a spotlight nomination where we always try to, send an appreciation to someone who has helped us with something, or just because we want to acknowledge that someone's efforts on the team or in general has been great. So there's a lot of, push to ensure that everybody feels valued. And whenever there's like celebrations, so we had Diwali that had come up, or there's like an ethnic day where everybody is recommended to just wear something that represents that culture. So even in meetings, when we have like a department communication, we actually encourage people to come and talk about the country they were from, their nationality, what was their culture like. So this is just to make everyone aware of the diversity that is there at work, and to build that community feeling for you to be aware of another culture and welcome that. So I think there's a lot of value for diversity, but there's also value for the work you do. And I think just like Olivia mentioned, I'm in audit, so we do have some periods where we would be expected to get into that busy season. So you have like this weekly Wednesday concept wherein everybody's trying to get together, do meditation, or just focus on well-being. So I think there's a lot of focus on community well-being and feeling valued irrespective of your cultural background. So I really value that, being in the writing office, kind of feeling that we get.
Yeah, that's really nice. And then also, are you guys all from the locations that you live in, or have you maybe moved towards Alice? I see you shake your head. How do you find, because obviously that's adjustment as well, isn't it? Yeah, moving to a new place. Have you found sort of how how's that sort of helped with you and your work-life balance? Yeah, moving up to Manchester.
Yeah. So I went to the University of Birmingham, but I'm originally from York. So I'd already kind of done a bit of a big leap. But then I really didn't know anyone in Manchester, and also moving into a job in a new city as well, because at uni perhaps it's a little easier to make friends, but I felt really welcomed at KPMG as soon as I joined, especially as you're joining with a big group of graduates, and you've got that in common, so everyone's joining new together, especially if you're looking to do the ACA qualification as well, as there is college and tuition as well. But Manchester as a city as well, there's a lot going on. Even though it's smaller than London, there's always something going on at the weekend. And I took up a few sports and things when I first joined, and I'm still doing it today. So
Yeah, that's always a great way to sort of integrate and meet people, isn't it? But yeah, I think you said you're welcomed into KPMG as soon as you got there. So obviously it can be a bit of an adjustment coming from university. Obviously, different work-life balance when you're at uni compared to maybe stepping into the 9 to 5. But yeah, Olivia, we'll come to you. How did you find that adjustment when you first started? Was it
Yeah,
a big one for you?
because basically as you can see, like I'm not local people and I was born and raised in China, but I took like a 1 year master studies in here, Birmingham. So after graduate, back when I in my grades, the Birmingham office is this do sponsor visa sponsorships for skilled worker tier 2 visa because I need a visa to like continue staying in UK. So I think also in questions for chat, I noticed people are asking about the visa questions.
Yeah.
So I think these questions you do need to confirm with the like HR, with the office, like to be specific about do they still sponsor this kind of visa, like what requirements they have. But back in my grades, they do not favor any people who are local or who are not local. They don't favor any people they don't like judge you based on your like where you're from, like what's your name, what's your mother language. They won't discriminate you against this. And they do want to have very like welcoming all kinds of backgrounds for education, for majors, for like where you're coming from, for any of the other things. So in my grades, that's one of the most important reasons I chose to apply to KPMG, because I feel like it looks quite like welcoming, despite I'm not local here, despite because I've worried a lot before joining the firm, like what if I can't fit into the culture? What if I can't understand what they're talking about? What if I can't understand Birmingham accent? What if I find people like they're not very nice or not friendly? Something like this, but none of this happened after I joined the firm. Yeah, so I think it's still like it's a fun experiences too, and also it takes a lot of courage to step out of the comfort zone and to work in a different country. But I think this is part of the fun, challenge yourself, and yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, you're right. There is quite a few questions on whether we support international candidates. So yeah, Olivia is obviously one of our examples of that. And I have put a link in. We've got an international students page on our careers website. So yeah, if you just have a look through that, hopefully you can just sort of like read about what some of those eligibility are and what we can do for you if you are an international student. But yeah, it's great to hear your experience, Olivia, because it's obviously very difficult coming into a new language, new culture, everything like that. So yeah, thank you for sharing. Sorry, we've got lots of questions in here, which is great. But yeah, I can go to Ashwini. How did you find sort of the adjustment to working 9 to 5? Was this a big adjustment for you? Yeah, obviously coming from uni, or not too bad?
So I did work before I joined KPMG, but I worked back in India, and the work-life balance there was very different. Like I've had
Yeah.
times where I've worked for like 12 hours a day, and I hated it at one point because I didn't have a life. So I think that was my main motivation to move out and do something else. But work life here in KPMG itself has been great because I get a lot of time for myself after work. And I mostly do 9 to 5. In even other days, if you are staying late, then you have the flexibility of adjusting your time. Like if you
Yeah.
work till 6 or 7 in the evening, and then you can log in a little later. And that's kind of like understood over here. Nobody has that sort of fixed schedule where you have to work. You can work however you want, however you're comfortable, as long as you get things done. And I think that's been great, because you have time for your hobbies, you have time to just not do anything at all sometimes. So yeah, that's really a good way of
Much needed.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great you mentioned that as well. Yeah, the flexibility. So it's like a communication piece. As long as you're having that open dialogue with managers, stuff like that, you can generally figure out a really comfortable way for you to work. And we're working now in a hybrid environment. So yeah, we've got time in the office, but we've also got time at home. So you're working from home sometimes as well. But yeah, that all boils down to which team you're in and how it works. But yeah, it's a great point. Yeah, making sure you can find a working environment that's flexible for you.
Yeah.
Looking back on, so Saloni, you're doing audit, so you've got a professional qualification coming on. How have you found the sort of the work study balance? Because I've obviously spoken to quite a few graduates before, but yeah, always good to see your experience with that balance alongside your sort of personal life balance as well.
Yeah, Ben. So I think from our batch, I think for audit, KPMG introduced a new program called the Accelerated, which I think probably among Big Fours, we're the only ones who do it in a way that my first year until September this year, we were just writing exams. So we weren't actually doing a formal client work, because in that way, we just ensured that out of the 15 exams that we need to get through, we got through the first 12. So that really helped us, I think, build our foundations and just give that dedicated focus to exams. I felt that it was quite useful, especially for those who are not from an accounting background, because you kind of learn things from the fundamentals. So we felt much more knowledgeable when we came back to get on formal client work. And of course, I think we did have 9 to 4s, and were expected to take on some tasks going back, because that's the nature of exams. They're meant to be a bit challenging. But I think there were a lot of breaks that were given to us. So after exams, we had recoup days where we could just, get ourselves together, get some rest, and we had sufficient revision time. So that really ensured that we felt prepared for exams. And as a cohort, actually, we made it a point to ensure that every weekend, or at least once in 2 weeks, we tried to do something together. So because we all were in the same boat, I think we all just got together, and we have this very nice group where we do so many socials. So we kind of like a really nice friends group apart from just being colleagues. So for me, I felt that the program really helped me find friends in Reading, which I didn't have before, because I did uni elsewhere. So I think overall, it is challenging, but definitely it's very rewarding at the end, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that touches on the sort of community point as well. Some of our bigger offices, like London, for example, has hundreds of candidates joining at the same time, whereas I imagine your cohorts were a little bit smaller, so you probably get to know each other a lot better. Yeah, which is obviously really helpful when you're going through sort of challenging exam periods. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, moving on to Alice, was there any advice you would give for anybody that's thinking of applying to one of our graduate programs? Yeah, if you could sort of look back at what you maybe did, or just advice through your experience through application process, stuff like that.
Yeah. My advice would be to stay open-minded as much as possible. When I was at university, I had no idea what I wanted to go and do as my career. So I just started applying for spring weeks to try and get some work experience. So I did the KPMG spring week, and I was fortunate enough to go from that to the internship, and then from that get the graduate scheme. But I had no idea what deal advisor was before then. I was like, I'm going to apply and hopefully I might enjoy it. And it turns out I did. But that could be the case with like any internship that you might do, whether it be audit or in tax or legal as well. So just be open to new opportunities, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. I have actually seen a few questions as well about the sort of the subject of university. So if I could just ask each of you what subject you did at university, just for sort of context. Alice, what did you study?
So I did biological sciences, so you definitely do not need an accounting or economic.
Very good. Saloni, what did you study?
I did computer systems engineering, so quite a big jump from engineering to finance. But there's always transferable skills anywhere.
That's the key point. Absolutely. Yeah, that is the key one. Ashwini, what did you study?
So I did my bachelor's in computer science and my first master's in big data and IoT and my second master's in cybersecurity.
Right. Very good. Yeah. Amazing. And finally, Olivia, what did you study?
I got master's for accounting and finance, which is something that's directly related to auditing. And also I got my bachelor's for what was it? It's like business management, so it's not relevant. Also, I got lots of people around, lots of my colleagues doing engineering and something like not related.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just a good example. I think just to say that it doesn't matter what subject you're doing at university, the eligibility criteria is a 2-1. So we don't expect any of our candidates to have that technical knowledge when they apply, because once you're in, that's when you'll learn all of that good stuff. So hopefully those questions that come in there. So if you've got a master's, it is only a bachelor's undergraduate degree we need, but if you have got a master's, you can obviously still apply. There's nothing holding you back from doing that at all. So just a good opportunity there to give a little bit of context. But I think if you guys got any final advice, because I think after this I'm just going to run through some of the opportunities, which hopefully answer some of the other questions that are in the chat box. Is there any sort of final points of advice that you'd give to any potential candidates?
I think just one that it's very natural to feel a bit of an imposter syndrome or feel that you may not be good enough because you're talking about a big four. But I think all of us from the panelists, I think we all would agree that we all were also in your place and we just thought we'll take a chance on this. And although most of us were not from that background, we knew that when we would get a chance, we would, keep that growth mindset and collect as many skills as we can. So I think you will always get that support in KPMG to build your skills, even if you may not have a background. But just realize you're not the only one who feels that imposter syndrome and that you're not good enough. I think as long as you trust yourself and, do your research about your role, I think you'll be fine and each of you will have a fair chance to get into the grad jobs.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much, Saloni. I think that's absolutely perfect. I think we've covered quite a lot of ground there, which has been really great, and some amazing questions coming in. But hopefully that's given everybody on the call just a little bit of a flavour from our wonderful grads, their sort of experiences. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for answering all those questions. Feel free to turn your cameras off and whatnot. I'm just going to run through some of the opportunities that we've got at KPMG. There's lots of questions, great questions coming in regarding those. So thanks so much to our grads, and thank you for your questions. what I wanted to run through is, yeah, just some of the opportunities that we've got. So this here is the graduate and undergraduate application process. This is also the same for our apprenticeship programs as well. So yeah, it covers them all, but it's in 4 clear stages. So what you'll see at the start is it's just your academic background, and you can put some work experience in there as well. But it's basically your GCSEs, your A levels, and your undergraduate degree information. Now, if you're an international student, it's just you just need to sort of put in your equivalent. So if you've done sort of mid high school or senior high school, depending where you're from, we've got the student recruitment team work through international qualifications. So yeah, don't be put off if you haven't studied GCSEs or A levels. We just need equivalents essentially, so you can put those on there as well, and we can find a way to make those sort of equivalent to A levels. So that's the first stage, and it doesn't tend to take too long. You don't need to put a CV on there. So yeah, only 30 minutes, just information that you should already have anyway. And once you've done that, you will automatically get invited to the first online assessment, which is the Transforming Small Businesses. And essentially, this is an online assessment that is going to take you through some material and look at 3 fictional small businesses that each have their own challenges. And you'll just be asked to respond to certain scenarios by ranking what you'd be likely to do, say, or feel. And there'll be some information to analyze as well. And now this is untimed, but we just suggested it should take about 90 minutes to complete. All right, so yeah, it's not timed, so you can do it in your own time. You've got 5 days to do it from your invite. So that's the first online assessment. So if you're then successful on that, you could be invited to do the second online assessment, which is the Delivering Outcomes. Now, this follows the same structure as the first one, the Transforming Small Businesses, in terms of the question structure, stuff like that. And basically, what's the differences here is you'll get a bit more of an insight and questions based a little bit more on the area that you've chosen. So, for example, if you've chosen audit, your questions will then become more audit related, and you'll be taken through a fictional project, and this will be linked to one of the small businesses you saw in the first online assessment. So hopefully there's a little bit of familiarity for you to work through, and yeah, just different scenarios for you by ranking what you'd say, do, and feel. And then success after that, sorry, yeah, just say that is untimed as well. But yeah, we sort of recommend 60 minutes to complete that one. And then if you're successful there, the final stage is stage 4, and that is the Launchpad KPMG Experience Day. So that's a half day. That is in person, and that's essentially the opportunity where you'll have 2 assessments. You'll have a group discussion, which you'll be sort of completing with 3 or 4 other candidates on a table. You'll be given some information to work through as a group, and you'll be set a time to sort of come up with an outcome. That's one of the assessments. And then you'll have an interview as well, one-to-one interview with someone in the same business area as you, one of our senior colleagues. And basically, it's a really good opportunity for you to demonstrate your strengths and give us the sort of confidence that you're going to be successful here. And then you will also have the opportunity to meet lots of people and talk to lots of people from KPMG, and that could be from grads, apprentices, up to managers, senior managers, and even partners as well. So there'll be a whole range of different people there on the day for you to talk to, ask questions, and there's also an opportunity for you to learn a lot more about KPMG, to make sure it's the right fit for you as much as you're the right fit for us as well. So yeah. General tips in terms of applying, we run a rolling basis, so we recruit on a rolling basis. So if it's still open, we don't have any hard deadlines. If we still have vacancies to fill, you'll find that vacancy is open on our careers website. So I know there's a few on there. The advisory roles, they're due to open soon. We don't actually have a date for them to open. So yeah, if you just sign up to the student community, talent community, you'll be notified of when those do open up. Looking at our the different programs that we offer then. So we've got our apprenticeship programs here. So we've got Discovery Work Experience. So that's designed for students that are year 13. And it's just designed as a program to understand a little bit more about KPMG, talk to people from different areas of the business. It's 3 days long. And yeah, it's just a really good learning opportunity for you to enhance your skills as well, meet new people. And then you've got the apprenticeship program. So we've got a variety of different apprenticeship programs that run from 2 to 6 years. So if you look at our careers website, you'll be able to sort of have a look at each of those different areas that we offer and how long they are. But you can do this once you're in year 13. You can apply for one of our apprenticeship programs. And yeah, the application process is the same as what we went to before. So yeah, if you're interested in an apprenticeship and you're in your year 13, obviously you can apply for it if you're not in year 13 as well. But that's just sort of, the youngest you can apply for it. But looking at our grad programs, I think they might be a bit more relevant. We have insight programs. So these are just designed to help our candidates find out a little bit more about working life at KPMG. Just in a little bit more detail, and just sort of discover about the work we do, as well as the teams you could join. And they can be virtual or in person. And again, I'll share some information about our careers website of how you can look into those and how to apply and when they're open. We've got a vacation program. So if you're in your penultimate year of university, so second year of a 3rd-year university course or 3rd year of a 4-year university course, you can apply for our vacation program. And this essentially is 4 weeks around July, and it's project-based. So you'll join a team and you'll have projects to do. You'll meet lots of other people as well. And it's just essentially a more in detail experience of you to learn a little bit more about KPMG and the actual work that we do. And you'll actually be able to do the work as well, which is really exciting. And if you're successful on the vacation program, you could get offered a full graduate program for the following year once you finish your university. So yeah, that's one thing to look in. There is a conversion opportunity there if you're successful on that program, which is one to keep in mind. We do have a 1-year business placement. So yeah, if you're in your penultimate year and on track to achieve a 2-1, this program will sort of give you the technical training and personal development opportunities. Again, we've got more information about this on our careers website. But yeah, if you're in your penultimate year, you can look into that one and do that. And again, that's obviously a little bit longer, 1 year. And you'll sort of be integrated into the business for a whole year, which is really good, really gives you an idea of what we're doing. And then our graduate programs. So if you're in your final year of university, whether on an undergraduate or a master's degree, it doesn't matter. As long as you're in your last year or you've already graduated, you can apply for one of our open graduate programs. And now all of these are 3 years long, and each area comes with its own professional qualification to study towards. So if you're looking through the careers website, just make sure it fits with your sort of wants and needs out of your professional life. But yeah, those are sort of the eligibility for applying to those. Now, just a quick look at what we look for. So there's been a few questions I think about having work experience and technical experience. We actually work on a strengths-based recruitment process. So these are the strengths that we look at, and that these will be what you're assessed against, especially in that launchpad stage for the interview and group discussion. So looking at career motivation, for example, knowing that you've looked at your the program that you've looked in, you really know why you want to apply for that one. The location, why you want to work in that particular location, why KPMG and why not somebody else. So that's just an example of one of the strengths that we look at. And obviously the work experience that some of you have done, or technical experience, that's really great for you to draw on when you come to that interview. Like Olivia said, there's lots of transferable skills that we can pull out from our job as well. So anything that you've done can always be used in your interview as an example of the strengths that you've done, some of the work that you've done, So that's what that work experience will be really good for. And you can find more information about these on our careers website. Top tips then, in terms of applying, apply as early as possible. As we recruit on a rolling basis, it's very much on a first come, first serve basis. So just apply as early as possible. They are open now, some of our graduate programs and our apprenticeship programs. So go ahead, look at our careers website and sort of see what works for you. And just apply. Secondly, just allow sufficient time and give your full attention. So when you're doing each of those stages, make sure you haven't got any distractions and you're really sort of giving your full focus to it. Tip 3, so be yourself. We want to know your authentic self, so who you are. We've got a really diverse sort of working environment, lots of people from lots of different countries, which is great, and it just really helps the way that we work when we've got lots of people that think in lots of different diverse ways, to sort of help us come up with solutions. So we want to know who you are. Just be yourself. Going into sort of considering your strengths, so looking at the work experience you've done or anything that you've done before, and just considering where strengths there that you think align with some of our strengths, or sort of where you think that you can benefit the company. So just looking at your own strengths and sort of understanding them. Be specific. So this looks more at the examples that you give when you're talking about stuff. Always give examples and be very specific, because it gives the interviewer no room at all. Then they just know exactly what you're talking about, and show that you know what you're talking about as well. And then tip 6, just researching our business. So looking at KPMG in a little bit more detail and knowing why you want to apply for us, which will be really helpful and really sort of beneficial for you when you're coming through the application stage. So I have rattled through that. I haven't had time to look at questions, but I can look at some now. We're coming in penultimate year, regardless of whether it's 3 or 4 year course. So penultimate year is the second year of a 3-year course or the third year of a 4-year course. That's for the vacation program, I'm assuming. It needs to be penultimate. But either a 3 or 4 year course, just your nearly final year. There's the law conversion courses, SQE prep. I actually don't know too much about the law. I know it does an SQE qualification as part of the program, but I'm not sure about conversion courses. So I'm sorry, I have to come back to that one. I can see lots of questions coming through. I think most of those are if you look on our careers website and go onto the but that's all from me, Fern, if you're still on there. But I can try and answer some of these questions just as we finish off, as I can see they're coming in. But I appreciate great questions.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ben. I just wanted to jump on and just say like a final thank you to all of you guys at KPMG that have joined us and given a really great insight into your experience so far at the company, and also everyone that has asked some amazing questions as well. Thank you so much again just for joining, and I really hope that you found it insightful and really kind of helpful in your next steps in your career journey. But for now, I hope you have a lovely rest of your day and take care. Thank you so much.